returning after 1,000 years. Hawkaiser the Final Brave is finally back.
Oh wait,
Joined today with Akuma Soul,
you were actually gone all this
Felix,
time.
also known as the Incognegro. Back at you with another Otaku Clubhouse cast. So what's our first order of business for today?
First order of business for the day is we didn't even realize you were gone.
Ooh.
I see how it is.
He never was gone. He was just fucking soaking in the shadows, looking for an opportunity to bump one of us off, but he never got one,
Shit.
Never exposed the neck.
I just noticed I'm randomly bleeding. Oh well, let's continue. So here's some news. There's a certain actress who a few people are fans of in here, and think she's going to go and join the happy science religion.
Religion, quotation marks, fucking air quotes. Fumika Shimizu. Shimizu. Anyway, also known as her most notable role is Yuki from Kamen Rider Fourze. She randomly, spontaneously quit her acting / gravure model career to join Happy Science, which, if you don't know, is a Japanese, let's put it bluntly, it's a fucking cult. And they have some weird beliefs. Like, they're not like, I wouldn't say they're an aggressive cult, like Jim Jones or like Scientology.
Yeah.
But they have some weird.
Oh, you might not want to reference
stuff.
them, yo.
Oh yeah. Oh no, they're coming.
They'll find you.
Lord Zeno.
Aren't they actually really serious about that? Anyway, continue.
They have some weird beliefs in that happy science religion, which is basically, all the religions. They believe in, Vishnu and Jesus Christ and Muhammad, and, it's kind of weird.
At the same time.
All at the same time, and their leaders, like, they're the incarnation of all of them. I don't know. It's weird.
I actually looked into it because I was like, I've never heard of this, and you hear the name. The name itself already sounds suspicious. Happy science religion, where it's like, it sounds like the most stereotypical Japanese thing that you could possibly think of. Because, it's the happy science. It's like,
sounds like a villainous organization in an anime.
Fucking super happy fun time science religion. Anyway, I've looked into it, and there's a few things. Of course, this is just me doing a little bit of cursory research, but apparently they've had a lot of very questionable involvement in things, and very questionable just in general. Like, they've gotten involved at one point. They were involved in the Olympics. So some athletes actually blame the Happy Science organization for their failure to qualify in the 2012 Olympics. And like, I don't even know how this group, I don't even know how long they've been around to have effects on the Olympics. Like,
yeah, that's weird. I mean, they're already a threat to, societal happiness by taking cute girls off the gravure market.
Well, I think it's more upsetting to some of us in here that Fumika Shimizu actually ended up getting involved with them. But we're getting too deep into what's wrong with Happy Science. I want to talk about real quick what's going on with her in general. So her lawyers actually spoke out and said that one of the things is she had only 3 hours of sleep a day, which, if you're an actress, I can understand that. I mean, I don't know if she's been in tons of things lately. I don't know how popular she is. I know she was going to be Toka in the new Tokyo Ghoul live action movie.
Yeah, and she also did Hentai Kamen live action.
Yeah, and she did that too. So I don't know how often she was actually like working and stuff. But another thing that they stated is she worked 31 days every month, which 31 days every month.
And, 31 days in February. Okay.
I mean, that 31st day in February will really get you when you're not thinking about it. It'll come up and sneak up and fucking it'll get you. But she quote only made 5,000 yen, 50,000 yen, with a bonus, which would be 438 US dollars. And they don't elaborate on if that is like a roll or a day or a month or anything. Which if it's like if she only makes like say $438 every, I don't know, week, that's fucking that's absolutely terrible. Because I mean, I would make more than her at that point. But
well, the thing is, if they have her working so often, and yet her IMDb page doesn't reflect that, they just send her off to the fucking Jav mines.
Which, I don't know. Okay, we've all in here watched Forza. I actually watched it alongside of Felix and Hawkaiser the Final Brave over here. And the problem is she's not a bad actress. She gave her all in the role, and according to many of the director and other people who were on set, like I believe her name, I'm probably going to get it wrong, Rikako, who played Miyu, and the director, they all were like they all had tons of fun with filming Kamen Rider Forza. They all like really liked it. Maybe she didn't. I mean, I don't know, because she got into it when she was young, right? Like the role when she played. She's
actually younger than all of us. She's like 22.
Yeah. And the role she actually played, like, she started it back when she was, what, 15, 16? Yeah. So, admittedly, in Japan, I believe that the legal age where you can start doing gravure is 16.
Yeah.
So, it's like as soon as she was on screen, she was also in gravure. But I'm finding it weird. Like, you look at Fumika here, and then you look at, say, other idols like Rikako or Makoto, and they're all doing the same thing. What makes Fumika's situation so much worse?
Well, like I said,
I think she just wanted out of her contract, to be honest.
Yeah, well, that too. Japanese acting contracts, especially with agencies, are very strict. The main actor from Forza who played Gentaro, he actually expressed that he wanted to come back in like the crossover movies, but he can't because his agency wouldn't allow him to.
Yeah,
and I have no idea how long the years are in their contracts that they sign, but I can imagine that like you sign it when you're 17, it's like, oh, this contract is good until you're fucking 22, and you sign it because it's got good money and it gets you good gigs. But
well, yeah, I mean, I assume working for Toei is pretty profitable if you're like trying to get your name out there. It's probably a great idea to do that, because I believe Haruto's actor from Kamen Rider Wizard's doing pretty all right.
Yeah.
And
I think he has a better contract because he can just come back whenever he wants to.
Yeah, and then Makoto is doing all right now too, but she's mostly down to just her idol appearances and like posters for clothes and whatnot for whatever clothing line is being sold. But I don't think that this happy science thing is going to end up turning out good for her. I think this is a really bad idea. And
while we're on the subject of bad ideas, I'm sorry, but
no, go ahead.
Let's talk about the new Yu-Gi-Oh rules and the new type of monster that they unveiled,
and the new anime that came along with it.
Jeez.
Yu-Gi-Oh! What are they calling those? Link monsters?
I believe. Like, I briefly glimpsed over the rules, and apparently they're like fusion monsters combined with what were the old things that the Cyber Dragons had a lot of?
Union?
Yes.
No, not Union. No,
Not
not
Union.
Union, because it was.
Tony?
Well,
Yeah,
Oh.
no, well, not exactly, but it seems like a fusion of those, like literally a fusion, because you gotta use cards to summon these monsters, and they have 0 defense points, but they can't change. They can't have their position changed. So, what was the ruling? Like, the rules for these monsters is they have cards attached to them. They have other monsters attached to them. They can sacrifice those monsters instead of being destroyed. So yet again, it's more fucking Yu-Gi-Oh monsters that you have a hard time getting rid of, like as if we didn't have enough of those. And you can sacrifice the monsters to get more attack points, and they can't switch. They can't be switched out of attack position.
this honestly just sounds like they've obviously run very low on ideas. But here's the main thing that throws me off: they're blue. The cards are blue, just like ritual monsters.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Isn't that a bad idea?
Somebody at Konami's like, bro, what's a fucking ritual?
Well, no, because ritual monsters started making a comeback. Here's the problem, though. Why aren't they just red? Why didn't they use red ones?
Because they probably want to save Red for that fucking super awesome mega gimmick that they're going to shut out after this one that they're doing.
Well,
yeah.
yeah.
The thing is, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is one of the worst fucking games I've ever played in my life. They just released some new gimmick, and it just breaks the game even more. It makes it so you gotta play this new gimmick, or else you're not gonna be able to be viable against anybody else. It was the same way with pendulums and exceeds and all that, and it's garbage. It's just trash.
And speaking of
I'm sure
pendulums, they also changed the rules about the pendulum zones. Is you can now use those 2 extra spell/trap spaces. So now you can literally have a back row of 7 fucking traps, and there's nothing people can do to get rid of them because Heavy Storm is gone. Fucking.
Well, yeah, and I want to just also talk about another thing. We all know the problem with Yu-Gi-Oh! The power creep is insane in Yu-Gi-Oh! These monsters are going to probably throw off the friggin' power scaling for the game again, make it worse.
See, what they do is, and it's not just them, I think other card games do this too, is like, they release fucking broken, overpowered new cards, so encouraging people to buy them. They go a couple months, they ban the most broken stuff, they keep the other stuff, and then they just keep doing it, they keep repeating the cycle. And they'll never unban, they'll never free my nigga Stratos, so.
Well, anything's possible, because they did unban Thousand Eyes Restrict.
Yeah, like fucking 10 years later.
Yeah.
They also unbanned the boy, Magician of Dark Chaos.
Yeah.
Jeez,
Which I still think that they only did that because of the new movie coming out.
Yeah, definitely.
Makes sense. But I also want to talk about the new series. I don't know if you guys have seen anything for it, but I have. Oh god, it looks so dumb. You guys remember 5Ds, right?
Right.
Well, it's no longer card games on motorcycles, it's card games on hoverboards.
Makes sense.
This is the natural progression of Yu-Gi-Oh, people.
I mean, the current season, or should we be calling it the last season, had the monsters being giant hologram arenas, and they're actually running around and fucking dueling in real time, which I don't understand how you could fucking get away with. I need to watch that series because not only does it have really good animation, I heard that the story gets as good as GX's did. So.
Well, that and I hear they also bring like Alexis and the others back. Or I'm sorry if you're fucking watched it in Japanese, fucking Asuka Tenjoin.
Asuka.
Fuck off. Anyway, they bring back characters from the older Yu-Gi-Oh and actually use them and stuff. So that actually sounds pretty interesting. I
I
might
thought they
check
were
that.
like thousands of years apart from each other.
They are, but
Well,
they
no,
have
this
time
one takes
portals or
place.
whatever.
Well, no, this one takes place in an alternate universe.
Oh yeah.
So the main character actually jumps between universes. It's Yu-Gi-Oh, okay? It's fucking stupid.
That reminds me of that time in Gundam Build Fighters where fucking Domo shows up. It's just him. No, let's not talk about that. I'm gonna go crazy. Let's talk about.
I don't know why you're so worried.
Oh, how about Legend of Zelda?
Well, fucking hell.
What about it?
Well,
Moving on.
I'm actually looking forward to Legend of Zelda, but you know what I'm not looking forward to? I'm not looking forward to the fact that now they're going to have a fucking goddamn season pass.
Oy vey. Rubs hands
Which
together.
they're having a season pass, but their online is still garbage. I don't understand this.
I mean,
I don't know why. I don't know why the idea of season passes have become like. Why is it that we were able to kill? Why is it that we were able to kill off?
Online passes?
We were able to kill off fucking online passes, but season passes is still a thing.
I don't know. It's because people buy it because they're like, well, I'm gonna get on the DLC anyway, so I'll buy this fucking $30 season pass. Like,
what was that one? There were a couple of season passes that came out, and it's like you bought it, and then you got like maybe one piece of DLC that came out like nearly once the year was over, and then the season pass got retired, and then they had another season pass.
Borderlands 2, I fucking remember it. It was the first one to do that. It was dumb. It was fucking, get the season pass, doesn't even fucking cover all the DLC that comes out that year, and then they made a fucking complete edition of Borderlands 2, and it didn't even have all the fucking DLC. You had to buy season 2 pass. I think... You know, come to think of it, I think that fucking Gearbox started the season pass bullshit.
It wouldn't surprise me. Gearbox is Gearbox one of the worst. Like,
yes,
they're not a developer, right? I mean, a publisher, right? They're a developer.
They are a developer, and they are becoming a publisher.
Because are they one of the worst? Because this seems to happen with a lot of their stuff.
They are one of the worst.
But no, let's not get off topic. I want to complain about the season pass nonsense because first off, it's like it's Zelda.
Right.
It's a fucking one-player game, and you're supposed to just play it and have fucking fun. As long as
it's supposed to be a complete game, basically.
It's supposed to be all games are supposed to be complete games, but it's a Zelda game. I haven't played, like, say if they were to come out like a couple of months later and be like, oh hey, we have a new DLC dungeon, I'd be like, yeah sure, whatever. Right. But you're essentially saying
that we're planning DLC for the game, so we're planning content months in advance that's not gonna be in the game. Sorry. Fuck.
And the main problem is the fact that it's also, we have this plan for this DLC and it's gonna come out soon. We don't know when, but if you give us your money now, we promise you it'll be good.
Oftentimes you end up overpaying. Like the season pass for some games will be like fucking $30, $40. Like at that point you're paying 2/3 the price of the game for the promise of additional content to come, which most people know that DLC does not. It doesn't. It's not like the expansion packs of the past where you get like basically another half of a game added to your game. It's just like, you get a fucking dungeon or you get some costumes and stuff.
See, what Nintendo is trying to fucking do, they're trying to be like, alright, okay, we're like everybody else, but we're still fucking Nintendo. And I'm like, okay, you want to have a season pass, you want to play with the big boys, you need to step your fucking game up. You need to step your online up. I don't understand how they think they can get away with the same shit that everybody else does while putting out less effort. No, I know why. It's because of niggas like Akuma and his fucking drones. Nintendo will just fucking sit there lapping it up.
Shots fired.
I'm a drone, and I'm complaining about this though.
No, you're not.
I am complaining about this. I was
actually
just complaining.
I better not see you buy the season pass, nigga.
I didn't say I wasn't gonna buy it.
Get the gun.
I didn't say I wasn't gonna buy. I didn't say I wasn't gonna buy it because the thing is, it has stuff in it that I do want. It's not, but I'm not saying that it's fucking good.
Why would you buy the season pass instead of just waiting for the DLC to come out and then buy it?
Please.
Oh my fucking god.
Nintendo wouldn't be pleased if you did that.
This nigga got a shrine of Mario made out of used chewing gum.
Mario, and he has an obituary for Iwata.
No, stop. Now you're just describing Chibi.
Don't bring him up.
Like that jump.
Real quick, supposedly let's see, it adds add Cave of Trials challenge, a new hard mode, and a new feature for the in-game map. Then the second one is adds new challenges that will let players enjoy a new dungeon and a new original story.
You know what? That hard mode better not be
hard mode is DLC.
Apparently,
that's
which is I don't even know what a hard mode in a Legend of Zelda game would actually be, to be honest.
Well, it's probably most likely it's just going to be inflated HP values for the enemies.
Actually, there would be an
value.
easy way to make hard mode in Zelda games, just increase the frequency of enemy attacks. Because my biggest problem with Zelda's difficulty is that the enemies don't attack you enough, generally.
Well, here's the thing, and I'm gonna say this. I've never really been a huge fan of Zelda combat.
Mm-hmm.
I've honestly, if they were to make it harder, I really probably wouldn't even care, because it's weird with me with Zelda, because it's I know it's one of the main focuses in the game is combat, and this one is going to be the biggest change from the typical Zelda games that we've had in I think in ever, isn't it? It's the biggest change to Zelda, period.
No.
But
no, the biggest
I'm
change
pretty
is
sure
when
you're
it
thinking of
transitioned
Link to the
3D.
Past to Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
Ocarina of Time.
That's actually when it became easier. I think the top-down Zelda games are much harder.
I don't know. My point is, it's I don't feel that I'm gonna really care. I don't care about a hard mode.
Oh yeah, Zelda 2
unless
is
they were to
extremely
make
hard.
the dungeons. Well, that's because that game was a complete. Well, there you go. That's also a completely different type of Zelda game as well.
Yeah.
Point is, I think that this is stupid. I don't care about season passes. They need season passes. The season pass. That's
Season
what I'm saying,
passes,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. I think those need to go away. I think that it should. I think they should just go away. And it's oh well, you get a value, and it's I don't care about the value. I care about the value if you promise me exactly what I'm getting. If I know what I'm getting, fine. But I don't know what I'm getting all the time with this stuff.
Should we talk, since we're talking about Nintendo and their copying stuff? Let's talk about Sony. This time they're getting rid of PlayStation Now, their subscription service. They're only having that now on PS4 and PC. Which, if you don't know, PlayStation Now was a subscription service in which you could stream PS3 games. There was a whole bunch. I looked through the list earlier. A lot of which have already been remastered on the PS4, mind you. But basically, if you don't have a PS4, if you have a PC and you buy PlayStation Now, you could stream PS3 games to your system and play them that way, which is kind of cool. It's I don't know.
I think it's really garbage. I think it's just a way to milk people, because if you're gonna make it so there's a way for backwards compatibility, right? What they should have done is just continue with those PS2 classics and all of that. Just make it games you can get for $20 or lower. For the new consoles, you can buy them there, because there's no way they're gonna make backwards compatibility like it was the PS2 and PS1.
Well, the reason why the PS3 had PS2 and PS1 classes is because it had an emulator of those two consoles built into the system, whereas the PS4 obviously does not. So, and it doesn't have backwards compatibility either. So, remember when they first announced the PS4, they announced PlayStation Now back then as their answer to backwards compatibility, and then Xbox One kind of fucking blew them out the water. Like, that's the one thing Xbox blew them out the water with, is that like all 360 games will eventually be backwards compatible on the Xbox One, and they stayed true to
and
that.
they've been making good on that. Yeah, and they've been making good on that promise. Every other, I think, month they're like, here's another 20 games that we're making backwards compatible.
See, the thing about Sony is that, okay, they took away the fucking emulator for PS1 and PS2 games, right? But they removed so many features from the PS4. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, you can't play music. You can't save music on your PS4. Yeah, you can't have like custom themes. I don't think.
No, they actually just updated the system's software. You can do that now.
Oh, you have custom themes?
Yeah, you know what else they just updated it with just recently? You can finally hook up external hard drive.
Oh, well, there you go.
Which
But
I
yeah,
didn't
not
even
being
know
able to
that
save your own music on there is really an
One
odd
of my
choice.
favorite features, and I feel it's really underrated, was on the PS3 was custom themes for the X and B. So
I was never a big fan of that, but that was only because whenever you had a custom theme, it would cause the system to slow just a bit.
yeah,
And so I would most of the time just not even have a custom theme. I would just have it set to the very most default theme I could possibly find. And especially the dynamic themes. The dynamic themes messed up the system something fierce because they always had to run them in the back.
What? I'm starting to consider something. I always had my PS3 on, and I had dynamic themes. No, nothing. No, that's not related.
That's
no,
not.
No,
That's
there's
not,
nothing.
Yeah,
No, it can't possibly have contributed to anything.
But I just want to bring up the fact that PlayStation Now, it's a good idea on paper, but it's like most of these ideas are good on paper.
The biggest problem.
My problem is my biggest problem is the fact that I can understand them dropping support for the PlayStation 3. It's like, I'm surprised they've supported the PS3 as long as they have, and I'm never going to get rid of my PS3. I have too many games I want to play on it. But here's the big thing: they are taking it away from PlayStation TV and PlayStation Vita. So is this like their final swan song for the Vita? Is this like they're straight up saying we're done with the Vita?
Well, I mean, last year at E3 they called it a fucking legacy. No, last year before E3 they called it a legacy system. But then at E3 they were holding up the corpse and parading it around like a fucking zombie.
Which is really weird because they seem to understand that developers like putting things on the Vita, but they're like, we don't want to put any of our stuff on the Vita.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you care about it? Do you not? Because the Vita at one point was on par with the 3DS.
Yeah.
In terms of sales.
I think that Sony hits the handheld market again. All they need to do is like, they can make another system that looks exactly like the Vita, and it can even have the same specs, like, because it still looks better than the it still looks better than 3DS, but they would have to make memory. You shouldn't have to buy fucking memory sticks.
Well, yeah, that was honestly, that's always the thing that kills Sony in my mind, is the proprietary stuff. You guys know, you hear me say that word so many times. It's basically a buzzword at this point. But the Vita memory cards were insanity. There were the biggest one, because I'm a memory hoarder. If I'd prefer to have as much free space on a system as possible. I remember the highest Vita memory, which I believe was 64 gigabytes, ran over $100 for 64 gigabytes.
And it's just that
For people who don't know, I can get like a 64 gigabyte SD card for around $30.
and the reason why Nintendo just kills them on that, and they've been killing them since the PSP, is because their handheld games are on cartridges, so you can just save the game on the cartridge, which can't compete with that.
And for the parts that you don't, all you have to do is just get an SD card, and you can just use a regular SD card in there.
Which I'm wondering how the Switch is gonna handle saves. Like, is it gonna be on blocks like the Wii U, or is it gonna be on the SD card, the game's SD card, or on a separate SD card that you gotta buy?
Dude, all the shit that I've heard about the Switch, it's like I understand and I don't understand, because it's like you hear things and it's like it's the greatest thing ever. It's going to fucking cure cancer, and then you hear the other day it's like, oh no, it doesn't even run 1080p natively.
That's because, like I said, Nintendo has not learned a fucking lesson.
It will cure cancer, but you have to cut off one of your fingers.
Well, admittedly, that would be no. I don't want to cut off any fingers. Anyway,
Nintendo, they don't learn. They do the same mistakes. They've been doing the same mistakes for years.
We'll see.
Moral of the story is, don't buy season passes. Don't fucking support Nintendo. Don't support fucking Sony.
Don't buy games. Don't play games. Go outside. Get a grip.
The real proof is just buy a PC. You'll be much happier in the end. All you have to do is just dump around like $400 or $500 into it and hope that you don't get a virus, and hope that you can find a manufacturer who will fix it.
It's fucking easier to fucking buy a gaming PC than to play video games on consoles nowadays.
Yeah, it's more profitable, but let's move on, because we can complain about this for fucking months. Oh wait, we have. Anyway, I want to talk about these Injustice characters real quick, because I'm not a huge fan of Injustice, but Felix here is actually a pretty big DC fan, right?
I think I'm the only DC fan in here. Well, like general fan.
Yeah, because you're fucking cucked.
No, because I don't like being cucked. The new characters, it seems like NetherRealm has finally figured out how to make a female face that doesn't look like... They added Cheetah, Catwoman, and Poison Ivy, and all of those, their faces look good. Their moves look alright. I don't know about Cheetah's design, personally. I'm a fan of... Shouldn't say this, but I'm a fan of the Cheetah from Justice League and Justice League Unlimited.
Wasn't that just the naked one, where she was like almost completely naked?
Yes, but the design makes sense. I think that's...
I mean, well, that's the thing. They have a character in Marvel who essentially rips her off, and she walks around in a bikini.
Which makes less sense, because unless she has like... No, let's not get into it. And they announced Swamp Thing, which, if you know anything about Swamp Thing, he's like the most powerful character as long as he's in the swamp.
The fucking Tom Bombadil of DC. So... I'm looking at the game and I'm like, this looks good. This has a lot of the characters that people want, a lot of the characters who are currently popular, but I'm not a big enough fan of these characters. My favorite characters are Deathstroke and Nightwing, and it's like neither of them are in it, so I lose a lot of interest
I know
immediately.
Hakuma into this game. It's like they announced the rest of the Teen Titans, and they announced Static Shock, and this nigga would buy it immediately.
Of course he would.
I would only buy it. No, I wouldn't want Static, because the idea that Static would be in the game would be most likely that it's based off of the movie that's coming out.
No.
If you happen to forget, it's Jaden fucking Smith.
God damn it! No. Static comes out riding on top of a fucking Gucci trash can, wearing a dress.
And he has that fucking Jaden Smith face where he looks so like concerned. Well, then again, if your dad was in fucking Suicide Squad, you'd be pretty concerned too. Let's be honest.
I don't think Jaden Smith is a bad.
You want to continue?
Because the only
You want to
Jaden
the thought?
Smith movies I can think of are After Earth and The Pursuit of Happiness, and he was good in Pursuit of Happiness, but he was like 5.
Well, well, that's the thing. He was good in Pursuit of Happiness, but you got to think about it. It's like Will essentially carried that whole movie. Which was that the last good Will Smith
No.
movie? I think
Nah.
so.
Was that before or after iRobot?
It was after iRobot. It was before Hancock, and it was
Well, that movie was
yeah,
good.
exactly.
Oh,
The
right.
first half of Hancock
Where-
was a really good movie.
For anybody who doesn't know, yes, we're that weird minority of people who actually enjoyed Hancock.
No, I'm pretty sure everybody liked the first half of Hancock. That was one of the best live-action superhero movies that's been out.
Don't say that around Akuma Soul, the Marvel drone.
Not a Marvel drone. I want DC to be good too. I want You know what? Since you're making me think of this, I want to drop in a side note. So, you guys remember how Ben Affleck was supposed to be directing the new Batman movie, right? The Batman. Yeah. Apparently he dropped out of that idea, and there's rumors going around that he might want to get out of DC altogether. He might not even want to be Batman anymore in general.
That's stupid.
And the reason that people are saying this is because DC is running things so tight-shipped that despite the fact that Ben Affleck was trying to bring in a director to take up for him when he's actually going to be in the movie and someone else is going to direct it, they were like, yeah, but your director's fine, but we want him to do this, to do this, to do this. It has to end here. It has to start here. It has to set up this character, this character, this character, and this character. They're essentially doing the Marvel thing, but I don't understand why people who work with DC always quit, but people who work with Marvel are just like, oh yeah, definitely, I'll do it. I mean, with the exception of Edgar Wright. I just don't know. But I was looking forward to that movie because Deathstroke was going to be in it. But now I'm worried if it's even going to happen. And then again, Ben Affleck also wanted to use what's his name, the Joker from Suicide Squad.
Please stop.
Oh, that's awful.
Jared Leto.
I don't know how you can have
Leto.
Ben Affleck, who's actually a pretty decent Batman, and then just have fucking the character.
The worst Joker possible.
Ugh.
Ultimately, I would just want DC to get their shit together. I don't hate DC. I'm open to a DC movie coming out and just fucking shitting all over like the next 3 Marvel movies in terms of.
No, you are not. You are lying through your teeth.
No, it's true. I'm open to it because then it'll force Marvel to be better. And it's like Marvel is currently one of those studios where it's like their average is good, and I'm sick of their average because it's like it's a good movie, I'll go watch it, but it's like it's rarely ever a great movie.
All right. So, well, while we're on the subject of movies, how about the upcoming Fox movie that has Marvel characters in it, Logan?
I'm still really looking forward to this too. I think that this is going to be the best Wolverine movie.
I disagree.
I'm worried because the trailers are showing the X23, little X23 is going to be a bigger part of this movie than I first thought, and that concerns me. I don't like child actors.
I don't like child actors either, unless they do them right. But here's the thing: the director actually said that he was thinking of doing an X23 spin-off. And the reason is because he thinks that the actress for X23, the little girl, is actually pretty decent.
Wait, what? Huh?
I mean,
a spin-off that involve that? No, it has to be her aged up. It has to be like.
Well, my assumption. I don't know. I don't know when they plan on doing it, but I promise you, knowing fucking Fox and how movie contracts work now, she's probably under contract for like the next 11 years. So she'll be old enough by the time that her contract's getting ready to end to play X23 again.
Stop. She won't look like X23.
Well, I mean, X23 is a very weird character. We've been over this before, where she looks almost sort of kind of maybe Asian, but isn't.
I guess.
Back on the subject of the movie, I think that Logan is gonna be a boring movie. I think it's gonna have like 1/3 of the movie will be good, but the rest will just be I'm so old. I'm Logan. I'm Wolverine, but I'm old.
What the uh,
Well, it's based off of Old Man Logan, but it's not Old Man
Yeah.
Logan. And here's the thing: people are really upset at the fact that they're like, "Oh, this isn't my Old Man Logan movie." And then I always
well,
say,
they can't have
"Well, I
the
mean,
Hulk
it's not."
characters in it, so.
Well, that and the fact that you're right, it's not your Old Man Logan movie. It's not called Old Man
It's
Logan.
just called Logan.
well, that's
Yeah.
semantics because you can tell what they're going for with the
Yeah.
movie.
Well, yes, you can tell what they're going for, but they don't have the right to the inbred Hulk the inbred Hulk hillbillies. And yes, that is a real thing. Those Hulk inbred people who just beat the shit out of Wolverine in the comic books are from Bruce Banner having sex with his cousin with She-Hulk.
And they wouldn't. Well, no, I'm not gonna say. They wouldn't have the Spider-Man van either to drive around in.
Oh, or Hawkeye or Red Skull.
But you know,
There were a lot of characters in the there were actually tons of characters in that comic book that wouldn't be able to show up. Well, for instance, they wouldn't even have the friggin' Venom Tyrannosaurus Rex, which was a thing.
Does Fox not have the rights to Spider-Man anymore?
no, that was Sony.
Fox
dude.
never had the rights to Spider-Man. Yeah, that
Oh
was
yeah,
Sony.
you're right.
So Fox has the rights to everything that is called a mutant.
Which is it
Any-
really bones
anything
over
outside?
Marvel's movies.
Yeah, because that's because X-Men are like the biggest thing in the world, and that's the reason that Marvel through shoddy writing got the fucking through shoddy writing and a mistake that happened years on, they got the rights back to Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch because when they first showed up, they weren't
mutants.
referred to as mutants. They were just people with powers, and then they found out they were mutants later on. So through that loophole, only through that loophole can they use those characters. It's stupid. This is movies are stupid,
Movies are
man.
more
How is
stupid
this
than
even a
video
thing?
games. It's because
How is this even a thing? Could you imagine if fucking one day they were like, "Oh, you can't put Mario in Smash because it's currently owned by this one guy over in Sweden, and he says that you're not allowed to."
we know how it's a thing. It's because towards the end of the 80s and beginning of the 90s, Marvel was doing really fucking bad, so they had to sell off a lot of their rights, their movie rights to fucking X-Men.
Sony, Universal. They had to sell them off to Sony, Universal, and
Fox,
Fox, which were X-Men, Hulk, Ghost Rider, Punisher,
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, basically all their big stuff, and they were left with nothing but the Avengers, which, I mean, nobody, let's be honest, fucking in the 90s, who gave a shit about the Avengers?
They did make remember the Captain America movie from the 90s? Garbage.
No, what you really want to say is, do you remember the Hulk TV show? What was that, in the 80s, I think?
They changed
Whereas-
they changed his name to David Banner.
Yeah, David Banner. That's what his name was. Oh man, those were terrible. But hey, maybe that upcoming Black Widow movie they've been trying to get greenlit will actually
You mean
happen.
Ghost in the Shell? Oh, we
Yes.
could briefly. Have you guys seen the new trailer, which is actually like a 2-minute trailer?
No, I haven't seen it
I
yet.
guess we'll save it for next week.
Oh, well, then I'll also talk about another 2-minute trailer that I know Hawkaiser the Final Brave will really have loved. That new Power Rangers 2-minute
I
trailer.
just spit out my fucking
Moving on.
Moving on.
Oh well, don't fuck up the recording. But no, there was a new trailer. Here's the thing, and I'll be perfectly honest. I don't, and I know this is gonna have a controversial look on this. I don't hate what this looks like it's gonna be. It may be the fact that it just looks like Chronicle, and everybody knows here I fucking love Chronicle.
It doesn't.
But here's the thing. If this weren't called Power Rangers, nobody would care about it, but it would also be that nobody would care what it was doing. Like if take away the name and just call it something else, and it's like nobody's going to get offended by it tarnishing the legacy of Power Rangers, but also nobody's going to go to see it.
Take away the name and it would be a garbage American tokusatsu movie.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's going to be garbage.
I think
What was
it's
that
gonna
one
be
other
trash.
movie? You know, that Max Steel? Uh-oh.
I watched that movie, man.
You did?
I actually,
The
yeah,
movie came out.
yes, it came out and it was fucking filth.
Oh.
But then again, honestly, Max Steel was pretty shit too.
It looked like it was... well, I'll give the people one thing who made the trailers. It looked a lot better in the trailers than the fucking Power Rangers movies trailers do.
Well, that's mostly because they're trying to make the new Power Rangers movie feel like, oh, it's hip. And that never works because it's like most of the people who are going to go see this are fucking like me, where it's like if it's hip, it's like this doesn't appeal to me. I'm a fucking I'm a 20-plus-year-old millennial who fucking was sitting at home watching the Power Rangers. I'm not fucking hip.
Yeah.
But I don't, whatever.
See,
What? Fuck it.
the worst, just every part about it, they try to make everything quotation cool in the movie, and it just looks generic and like just complete garbage. All the art design is trash. The suits look awful.
I mean, I think the CG on the giant robot looks alright.
The CG might look alright, but you can't. No matter how good the CG is, the design is still
Yeah, I
complete
don't
garbage.
like the design whatsoever.
I do agree. I don't like the Megazord. I don't like the Zord's design.
I don't like the suit designs. I don't like that nigga fucking the robot. His design.
Alpha.
Yeah,
Alpha.
Fucking. Ooh, what did they do?
Ultimately, I'm going to go see it open-minded. I'm gonna let it.
See, the thing about Tokusatsu is that there's a certain amount of camp that comes with it, even in some of the ones that are geared towards more mature audiences, like Garo or like Kamen Rider Amazons and all of that. There's a certain amount of camp about these people who are like doing poses and transforming into spandex heroes, and it's like, okay, you get that, you're a fan of it, you understand it, but these movies are always made to appeal to people who aren't fans, people who are just gonna go see the latest summer blockbuster, and I'm not a part of that.
Well, hopefully, I don't know. I'm just hoping that it's not terrible. But I've got one last thing that I wanted to bring up, and it's mostly the fact that it's been going around the internet. PewDiePie, which I am not a fan of PewDiePie. Don't hate the guy, just
PewDiePie?
I'm not a.
You mean that?
I'm not into
that Nazi?
Yeah, the neo-Nazi PewDiePie, who also happens to be named Felix, by the way. So he recently said, well, no, he made a video. I think it was actually a long time ago.
A couple videos that had edgier than usual jokes. One of which is he found this website where people will do anything for money, and he paid a bunch of Somalis to fucking write a sign that said "Death to all Jews," and they actually did it. And that got taken out of context. He did another one where he talked about the YouTube Heroes program, and he compared it to the Hitler Youth. That got taken out of context, and basically he's been called a Nazi by media like the Wall Street Journal and
The Wall Street Journal and any like mainstream media press.
And as a result of that, one of his sponsors, Disney, fucking dropped him. YouTube dropped his show they had on YouTube Red, and I forget what the name of it is, like Spook PewDiePie. Oh
Scare,
yeah.
scare.
Can't say spook, that would be
Which,
racist.
which, admittedly, though, it's like I didn't care about that show at
Yeah.
all.
Well,
But
see, the thing is, whatever they do to him, he's already
Yeah.
won. This man is richer than anybody at YouTube. He's richer than any
That's
sponsor could
true.
be.
Well,
oh no,
There's nothing they can
absolutely.
do to phase this man. Okay, you dropped him. Okay, he's still gonna create content. He's still gonna have millions of views.
I think he actually had a spike in subscribers
Yes,
when that
he
happened.
does. Like he has like 18,000 subscribers a day, and that's including
think
the
the-
fucking
I think-
weird YouTube glitch that gave people negative subscribers.
And I think the funniest thing about this was the fact that somebody said, "Oh, well, now that you're calling him a Nazi, the actual people who consider themselves Nazi, because Nazis don't really exist
Yeah.
anymore, but those people who actually consider themselves Nazis are probably going to go over and check out this guy's content."
PewDiePie has made a video responding to all of this, and it's not like he's like, no, fuck you, fuck that, blah blah blah, or whatever. He said that he understands why Disney and YouTube did what they did. So like he acknowledges what he did and what the response to it was, and he gave a sort of apology for don't remember his exact words, like, I apologize for making jokes that I couldn't do properly, so people took the wrong way. Which I don't think he should have apologized, because let's face it, these media outlets took it the wrong way on purpose.
Well, I will definitely say this, because here's the thing: just because we have free speech here doesn't mean we're free of persecution for that speech. So, what he said and what they did, it was bound to happen.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna say that what they did was right by any means. Defaming the man when you're clearly taking what he's doing and saying out of context is wrong. Like, that's without question. But he should have known what game he was playing.
Well, see, first of all, you can't say anything about Jews. Jews are the one group you can't
don't
say nothing
that!
about.
Don't
This is
do
real
it!
talk.
Don't
No,
do
get
it!
you out.
No,
I
I'm
like
calling y'all out.
living!
I'm calling y'all out right now. You can't say nothing about Jews. You can't make jokes about Jews. You can't say, oh, I'm not, Jews do this, that, right?
The Goyim, no.
He's made so many jokes. I'm not a fan of him. I've seen some of his videos. He's made incredibly raunchy jokes, racy jokes. Still had partnerships. YouTube still sponsored him, right? Says something about Jews. Says a joke about Jews. Suddenly, this man is seen as a villain, neo-Nazi, this, that, and the third.
Some people are saying that Disney dropped him because, oh shit, we don't want to be associated with Nazis again. Because if anybody knows, Walt Disney really hated Jews. He really hated Jewish people.
Well, actually, if you go back and watch a lot of his stuff, it's not really just Jews. It seems like he hated Jews, but it seems more like he hated Jews and thought every other race was just inferior. Where it was like, oh, well, over here we have all of the happy white people, and over there we have all the people who are brown. They'll bring us our drinks if we need some, but all the other people, we're so happy.
You have to remember the time period that all these old cartoons were made of. Go watch some old Tom and Jerry. Go watch some old Looney Tunes.
Then again, the old Tom and Jerry was like inconsistent because you had the fucking black mammy with the hands and the feet that are like white, but she owned a big ass house, so.
Yeah, that was weird. You know, I never thought about that.
Both sides.
No. You're wrong, because I remember that character worked for the people who owned the house.
It depends. Like, sometimes she did, sometimes she didn't. Sometimes it would be like the fucking white guy. Like, you could tell he was white because he had the fucking the shoe.
Anyway, let's wrap this up, people. Let's wrap this up.
Any closing remarks? Any last shout-outs? Oh, I got one. Look out for our new series, The Critics of Controversy.
Yeah, That's actually exactly what I was going to say, because I kind of want to go more into depth on this race thing. I think we could have an interesting conversation about this.
I think we can talk a little bit about the Jews. Look out for a new series, The Kings of Kikes. Delete this.
Jesus Lord.
And I guess we'll see you guys all next week.
Well, thank you for joining us for our last episode. This YouTube account is going to be closed after this.
Thank you for joining us for our last day on Earth. We will be assassinated after this, most likely.
We'll be assassinated twice, yo. By the Jews and then by the Scientologists that we mocked at the beginning of the episode.
If I die, I want to let you know I love you. You know who I'm talking. You know I'm talking to you. I love you. I'm sad that I was never able to give you the kids that I promised you.
Outro music goes here.
I'll make sure I'll send all of my Tales of games to you.